While a premium is placed on developments that rise into the sky, high living does not necessarily mean towering condominiums. On the contrary, sometimes high living just means intelligent design and sophisticated buildings.
Apartment design in Singapore actually has advanced tremendously over the past few years, and also because people are well-traveled and they're exposed to a lot of trendy stuff in Europe or America, so the expectation has sort of increased.
Nestled in an exclusive district, 33 Robin boasts a unique eye-catching facade. Pleasing though it may be, the design of its facade was not merely for aesthetic purposes. It was, in fact, born out of a pressing problem.
In normal circumstance, the best orientation for buildings are toward north and south, because that's where you get hit by the sun, and that's where the wind is coming from as well. But in the case of 33 Robin, our boundaries on the north and south were bound by two other developments, and so the view that we had was basically east and west facing. So we had to deal with sun orientation. So that's how the treatment of the facade came, and we know that we need to do something to address the issues of the environment.
The eastern facade was given a radically different treatment from the western facade, taking into account the movement of the sun's arc.
The east facade and the west facade are very different in that the east, because that's where the best view is, and also the sun issues less severe, and so we had wall-to-wall glass and basically a very simple facade, clean facade. Whereas the west facing, because we have to deal with heat, and so we had the windows smaller, which are actually just openings in the wall, and then mitigated by another layer of sliding panels.
Creating views for the lower floors was also important to the architects, as those units were hemmed in by buildings on all sides.
For the upper floors, the view is predisposed, so it's already there, so we were there to enable it. Whereas for the lower floors, there weren't any view, so we had to create an environment so that the occupants can have a view.
This was achieved by creating lush settings around the pool.
We had to create environmental decks so that we can have the views diverted toward it to create views for the lower floors. It's like a landscape deck with water feature, which is actually the swimming pool, and we used a very dark tile to make it look like it's a pond more than a pool.
In order to avoid any jarring contrast between the residential units and the landscape deck, the architects were careful to use the right materials.
Beyond the pool deck, we had the private enclosed areas of the respective ground floor unit, and sort of like it seamlessly integrate with the private domain. And then because we've used similar materials like granite and timber, that's also echo the facade treatment of the lower block, so the whole environment will seem like one. We wanted to have this sense of surprise and delight for the visitors and the occupants, in that they are able to discover this urban oasis in the midst of this densely built-up area.
Wanting to facilitate more family-friendly living, the design of the apartments was kept very open.
For the internal planning, I guess the feature that we have in the apartments is that we have the living, dining and kitchen in an open plan, and I think it's mainly to deal with the urban living lifestyle, where they're entertaining, and there's also young families, supervision of young children, and also by not compartmentalizing the rooms, the space actually will feel much bigger and fluid, and it's dynamic as well to respond to use.
33 Robin is a lesson in designing around severe site restrictions. While practical solutions had to be realized, the overall aesthetics were not compromised on, resulting in an unusual eye-catching facade.